All right, what is going on, guys? It is your boy Icy, and today, Xbox just recently did this little podcast of the Gears of War E-Day reveal, the deep dive. So we're gonna watch this together and see what it's all about.
Games in this podcast range from E to M.
Everybody, welcome to the official Xbox podcast, the only podcast coming to you from inside Xbox, or today, inside the Coalition Studios in Vancouver, Canada, where we're going to get our first deep dive look at Gears of War E-Day. Let's check it out.
Let's check it out.
This week, we learned a ton about Gears of War E-Day at the Xbox Game Showcase and the Gears Focus Direct, which followed right afterwards.
Okay, if anybody knows where I can get this Brumok statue, please let me know down in the comments. I would love one.
But I will say one of the things we always hear from players in the comments, they love to see pure gameplay video to really get a feel for what is coming their way. And, well, that's what we have for you right now. And even better, in order to help us break this down, we are joined from, people who are making this game. Arjan, Nicole, Matt, how are you doing?
Great.
Good, yeah, really good.
And so it's been a little while since I've been here. It's been, I think it was like 2019. We were, for Gears 5, we brought a bunch of people up here, and it's great to be back. But one of the things I will say is, I'm seeing familiar faces and I'm seeing new faces. So, how have things been up here at the Coalition? What's evolved and changed over the past 7 years?
I mean, it's been a journey making E-Day, and it started really after we finished Gears 5 and Tactics. We shipped a bunch of things just afterwards, and around that time, we were looking at what the next game was going to be. But also, right around that time, the world went into a big change. The pandemic hit. So at our studio, we had a chance to reflect on Gears and the franchise. We talked to fans. We sort of explored what the game meant to us.
That's the one thing too, even me, I'll be like, oh man, we've been waiting 7 years. But because of COVID and because of all the policies and stuff that was going on, they probably, just like he said, really didn't actually start making the game until 2021. So I guess that's still a long time, but depending on how detailed and everything it is, which from what we saw, it looks pretty crazy. It kind of makes sense, I guess.
Us. At the same time, we had this crew that had been building games together for a decade or more, and specifically Gears. So we had deep affinity, obviously, with the franchise. People love it, but also a bunch of experience. And then through the pandemic, we did this reflection on the franchise. We picked our direction on E-Day, and we had this cool influx of new energy and people that joined the studio, along with some of the people that had been working together for so long. So yeah, lots of change, lots of familiar faces, lots of awesome energy, and driving towards this vision we had for E-Day, and finally getting to near the finish line and getting to show it to people.
That's awesome. One of the things is we were walking into this room, I noticed a mural which seemed new, and the one that says "Never Fight Alone."
Yeah.
I would love to know what that means to the Coalition.
Yeah, there's a lot of new murals. It's fantastic to see us kind of put that up into the studio, because we've really elevated over the past few years as kind of like a mantra inside the team. It's kind of always been around for Gears. It's been a tagline sometimes, but it actually was in a design doc way, way, way back, and it really was kind of meant to describe co-op play. But over time, it's just taken on a lot more meaning for us in terms of why we build Gears, the stories that we tell in our games, the values that we have as a team and how we work as a team and how we support each other. And then also kind of what's going on, with our fans and how they relate to the game and the stories. And ultimately, it's just about having each other's backs and getting through life. And, it's a really nice rallying call to everything that we do, and it kind of brings everything home in terms of what Gears means to us and to fans, and just what we're making.
How is the team feeling here in this final stretch before launch this fall?
I think the team's feeling pretty good. This is kind of the time where we've put in a ton of effort, but the finish line starts to show itself, and I think that's really invigorating, because you start to realize that all the hard work we've done, it's gonna come out soon, and people will get to see it finally. So I personally, I'm feeling pretty invigorated. You know, like I said, we have been cranking for a long time. I'm sure fans are wondering what took so long, but we just, you know, I think as you start to see the product come together, you start to get the sense of, you know, whether you've fulfilled all the promises you made 4 or 5 years ago in pre-production. I think we've done that. So I'm quite excited. It's an exciting time right now.
And it's
Yeah, they did take their sweet time. I will be honest. They definitely took their sweet time. I mean, they got to the point for me where, like, I didn't even know what Gears game to play anymore. Gears 5 was annoying. I mean, I'm sitting here playing Gears 1, Gears 2. I don't know, man. I'm happy that we're on the home stretch because it's been a long time, boys. Very long time.
exciting for us and for me because now we are going to apply Never Fight Alone to watching together as we see this new gameplay video. So what do you say? Should we jump in?
Let's go. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the Coalition Emergency Broadcast System. There are reports of multiple tremors causing minor damage across Colona.
Stay sharp. Don't let them surround you.
Cool. So we're in, and what's really cool about this very first moment in the demo is this is quite early in our game. This is the moment these Gears Bravo Squad pick up a gun for the first time. So we give you a snub off this police car, and the shit has just hit the fan. So you're seeing the chaos as a player the exact same way Marcus and Dom and everybody else is seeing it.
Yeah, and it was really important for us as like a first gameplay reveal to drop you like right into that first night of chaos, right into the invasion and pay that off.
Yeah, for sure. And another thing to notice is just the challenge we had where we had to build a city that's actually alive. In every other Gears game, all the shit's already happened and the cities are all destroyed, which is so much easier to build. But the amount of detail we've got to cram in so that players will actually, you know, credibly believe that this is a living, breathing city that we're about to rip apart.
We actually saw like a survivor running away. Like, I'm not used to seeing like other
Some
people
get away, some people
Some get away, some don't. There's so much stuff going on in this very first moment. There's wretches climbing
Man.
up the train tracks. There's one on the bottom.
It's so weird. It's so weird seeing like the running. It really is. It's
Just seeing, like,
weird to
other
see
Some
that.
get away, some people
Some get away, some don't.
That's
There's so
weird.
much stuff going on in this very first moment.
It's not necessarily
wretches
bad, it's just
climbing up
different.
the
It's
train
weird.
tracks. There's one on the bottom of the subway. They're like, you get a sense of like, not everybody, the characters, and even what we wanted
hit
here was
markers
that
are in the
people
game.
can't take in how much just craziness is going on in this city as the monsters attack.
Yeah, I think another cool thing is, well, maybe not cool, but no matter how hard you try, you can't save everyone in this first street. You're just walking through, you might be shooting a couple wretches off people, but there's 3 or 4 other ones eating people beside you. So that's a pretty important feeling because they're pretty underpowered right now, and the invasion is pretty heavy duty. So
Marcus and Dom were at the bar having a drink.
Yeah, you're seeing Marcus.
Yeah.
You're seeing Marcus and Dom in their cash.
I know, I'm like
outfits.
nice to say. By the way, I will say like the brown jacket, you know.
You're rocking
Right on
with-
point.
I would not take a photo next to him. It wouldn't look so great for
Yeah,
me.
you would look
That
skinny
was
next to
a
him.
really fun exercise to try to figure out what these people would wear. Like we all know them in their armor, but we don't know them as casuals, right?
They're still larger than life, but maybe like it's like a football player without their pads in.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, Gears are always ripped. They're always kind of bigger than everybody else. It's just part of it. But it was a really fun exercise to go like, what would Marcus wear to a bar? And like, there's some really cool details, right? Like his cog tags are under his nice tight V-neck. And also like, he never takes off his bandana. Like little details
He's
like
got
that.
a chain
He's got a
wallet.
wallet
He felt like that would be appropriate for Marcus.
Backing it up, you mentioned this is Bravo Squad. Who am I seeing here besides Marcus and Dom?
Right. So we have Marcus and Dom, obviously, and 2 new characters. So Mags Carter, who's a veteran of the Pendulum Wars. She's from
Truthfully though, we haven't seen any multiplayer footage. So like you're saying about like the running, like that you don't know why they would change it. I mean, we've only seen campaign footage. For all we know, like when you actually are playing multiplayer, maybe the running is like that. I mean, who knows? Like the beta comes out August 6th, so who knows? For me, it's less about like the change and more about like almost like the lore. Like back in GAO 1, which is, you know, this is prior to GAO 1, you know, we were running a certain way. In Judgment, which is also before GAO 1, we were running a certain way. So like, how are we not running that way in this game? But to be honest, it's not that big of a deal. As long as it doesn't drastically like change the Gears of War feel, then it doesn't really bother me. But it definitely does look different. It's weird to see for sure, like I said. So.
Colona, she's working in the emulsion refineries now. She's sort of like returned to the brotherhood she had before, but she's the person who's seen the most in battle. And then we've got Lucas Reyes. He's a rookie. He's a comms officer who actually never made it to the front, like very competent, and he had sort of dreams of glory, but never made it there. And these 4 people in this first moment, they just happen to be in the same place, but these are 4 gears who, when it breaks out, they run towards the threat while everyone else is running away.
So I see active reload is back, which thank you. It hasn't always been in the middle of the screen like that, has it?
It's never been in the middle of the screen. Yeah, obviously this is a game built from scratch. Like, it's a new game built to feel like Gears, but it is new. So there will be some things that feel very familiar, some things that are new, and some things that are just a little bit different and evolved. And one of them was active reload. It's such a staple of Gears games. It's like adds to the tension of reloading your weapon, how you manage your weapon, whether or not you're going to jam it, get extra damage. And honestly, it's so central to the experience that sometimes we find new players lose it in the top corner. And it's part of your aim experience. And it makes the most sense to put it where you're aiming, where you're firing. And there's some cool new stuff tucked in the active reload. I don't know if everybody...
Yeah, I'm interested to see what he's about to say, but I don't agree with that, though, man. Like, I mean, I get it. Like, it's not the end of the world, but I just don't agree with it. Yes, people can lose it in the top right of their screen, but, I mean, it's always been in there, man. That's what Gears of War is. And it sounds like it's not going to be an option to put it back, which is, honestly, I'm a little bit disappointed about because I was hoping to put it back in the top right. But, again, it's going to be one of those things where, like, yeah, it's different, but after you play it for a bit, you're not even going to notice it. Like, it's probably going to be like that.
Caught it.
No, what is it?
So you can see in this demo, when we use the Nasher in there, some of our weapons now have single shell loading. So you can see each shell load in the active reload bar. And actually, you can interrupt your reload to fire a shell immediately and basically trade off having a smaller clip to get your shot out at a time of urgency if you need it.
Yeah.
That's useful.
To Matt's point, the other thing that when you see in a
That's pretty
demo,
cool.
We take some things away from the screen that just so you get this kind of full screen experience.
for
of the
cinematic
game.
purposes.
Totally. So obviously the Omen is back, in terms
As
of
you're
like
taking
health
damage.
Yep. You see your weapon up at the top. We've kept that for the demo. But just, we wanted to show the game full screen so you kind of get that cinematic immersive experience, but all those kind of signature things are obviously back.
Okay, let's jump into this this next scene then.
Okay.
Let me see what I can do.
I'm at the fan safe. I need backup.
These cars remind me, I feel like there's pictures of my parents leaning against
Yeah.
cars that look
Yeah,
like these.
so that's kind of on purpose. One of the things we thought about a lot at the beginning of this journey was, what the style of the city was going to be. And, we're kind of going back in a way to fill in a hole in the story of the lore of E-Day. So this sort of nostalgic vibe felt right. And to go with that, cars that felt like they're from the 70s. The city has a, New York in the 70s was sort of our inspiration. So it just felt right. Everything feels a little bit older and a little bit clunkier, which kind of aligns with the Gears vibe.
New
anyway.
York in the 70s.
I mean, it is
huh?
a different time period, so pulling elements of Earth nostalgia and Sarah nostalgia together was a really great way to make us feel like we'd gone back in time to a world that, frankly, nobody's actually seen, right? Like, we've never shown pre-E-Day Sarah before.
And now we know the price of gas was much lower.
That's right.
That's right.
And the other advantage is most of these cars from that era are really blocky, and that obviously helps with cover.
Yeah, I will say, actually, one of the cool things that you just get a glimpse of in here and maybe a bit more.
Yeah, Gears 5 did have 6 shots as well at the beginning.
In our dev direct
In the shotgun.
is building E-Day in a city. We chose to put it in one city. Ultimate Gears playground. Like, in a game that's all about cover, you get just this huge range of options. Cars, buildings,
Planters.
destruction, planters, trains, all sorts of things that make sense. And then we rip the ground up and we make all these organic shapes. So you can actually see in that sequence there where the corpser comes out of the ground, one of our new cover types, we have low ground cover. So you can see Marcus slam in all the way down to the ground and take this like low stance and crawl along it. So we have some cover that's a little more hectic, a little more dangerous. And of course, you'll see in other footage a lot more versatility in how we move, a lot more fluidness, mantles, vaults, all sorts of things. So we were able to open the range.
How do you guys think that's gonna work? Like with the low cover, like how would somebody misroll, for an example? Like I don't know how they're gonna do the control schemes, right? But if it's something like the classic control schemes, like default, how would you misroll? Like you would just take a low cover. You see what I'm saying? Like I don't know. That's kind of weird. That's actually kind of weird. Maybe they changed the control schemes to where it's like Halo, which is a lot of people have said this, where you can just have full customization of all your buttons and like there's not an actual control scheme itself. They might have like presets, but in general, you can just kind of do whatever you want and put every button on, you know, whatever you want it to be. I think that's probably what's going to happen here.
Of cover types, create more organic spaces that you can move and flow through without losing that fundamental part of Gears, which is cover is life. Like that's how you live.
Yeah, it's just not always tie cover.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
right.
Yeah.
I think
Sorry to keep pausing, but that's actually another good, like I'm glad that they keep reiterating cover because obviously I'm a fan of a cover-based shooter. I've been complaining about it for the last 10 years. I'm glad that Gears is allegedly, it looks like, going back to a cover-based shooter. I just hope that they don't completely take out some of the more modern things in Gears that are good. But in general, I mean, this game looks very different, so we're going to see in the beta.
the other thing that this shows, and I'll throw it to Matt, is you get to see slide. You get to see Marcus slide.
Oh, right there.
Yeah, so there's a couple moments in here. So we added slide to the.
You guys see how
The
he
other
just
thing that
instantly
this
gets
shows,
into
and
cover after sliding here? This is like what I would consider a side bounce in modern Gears
I'll
games.
throw it to Matt, is you get to see slide.
Like he's not
You
even
get to
looking
see
at this
Marcus
cover,
slide.
and it
Yeah,
just
so
boom,
there's
side bounces
there's
right,
a couple
right
moments
into
in
it.
here. So we added slide to the game. The movement for E-Day is built from scratch. There's nothing that we ported from past Gears. First thing we did was try to make sure we hit what Gears.
Okay, again, sorry, this is all news. Like, did you guys hear what he just said?
The movement for E-Day is built from scratch. There's nothing that we ported from past Gears.
Movement is completely from scratch. They did not port anything, allegedly. That's what he just said. They ported nothing at all from the entire history of Gears since 06. That's actually pretty big news, to be honest with you, because we're sitting here talking about, oh, like misrolling and low cover and high cover, whatever. This is completely its own game. Like, it has nothing to do with other past games. That's actually pretty important, I think.
First thing we did was try to make sure we hit what Gears feels like, right? How it feels to go into cover, keep the heaviness. But it was important to us that we added more fluidity. So there are some obvious changes. The sprint camera has moved out so that you get a little more visibility. You can run a little bit more. And tying to run, we added slide to the game. And slide lets you sort of tie in that fluidity to a bunch of cool opportunities. You can slide into cover, obviously. You can slide under some things, under trucks and through gaps and things. Or you can see sort of in this demo, we slid past a planter and then kind of popped ourselves into cover really fluidly. You know, it's an addition to the core of Gears. We've got that core center of movement around cover and choice. And then we try to layer these new movement mechanics sort of around it to just give you more options. And
I think so, nerd, yeah.
And really an experience that just feels like Gears, but more modern, I guess, more dynamic. Yeah.
From the reaction, I'm assuming they had never seen a corpser before, because I think they're like, what the fuck is that?
I think that's the first one in the game.
Yeah, that's the first full view. Yeah.
I mean, you see the arms of it kind of come out when the SkyTrain goes down. But yeah, there's a lot of, what the fuck is that?
Yeah.
What the hell is that?
We get to experience the Locust the way the squad does. So there is a lot of, in this game, there is a lot of, holy, what the shit?
What else would you say?
I mean, this demo does jump time just a little bit through a mission. Obviously, we're kind of cutting out. Yeah. But there is a cool little sequence you see there where rookie Lucas spots the legs first when the train collapses and tries to call them out,
This
and nobody else
campaign
saw
might be
it. And then
insane,
it comes
boys.
up
I'm not
later.
even kidding.
You see that?
Campaign might be insane.
Like huge crab fingers picking up through the street. Just the adrenaline hit. We need to keep moving through the underpass.
I think we have a beat in that mission earlier where he's like, I told you,
He's like, I told
giant
you."
fucking spider legs. And like,
Exactly.
We also saw the retro Lancer, I guess in this era, the current Lancer.
that's right.
Yep.
And
Not retro, just Lance.
just
Lancer.
Lancer. Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
And I saw you kept like the you know,
Band
for
charge.
me, one of the most
Yeah.
satisfying, you do the charge
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
The impaling. Yeah.
Impaling, yeah.
Impaling.
Yeah, one of the things you see there when you did that execution is that Marcus gets covered in blood when that moment happens. So we've put in a few extra things to allow you to see kind of the world touches you as a player and you touch the world, and you can see that on the player themselves. We do that throughout the campaign as well with blood and dirt. So in different moments, the blood level on the character will go up and then it'll go down, same with dirt. So in previous gears, we've always had super shiny armor and it looks really good and it looks great in HDR and everything. But I think this is just another level of sort of believability that just kind of removes that barrier and people feel like they're more immersed in what's going on around them.
Feels super satisfying when you're doing natural shots and you're just getting like covered
Head to toe in blood.
Yeah.
It's always been a game that people have used the term visceral, and now you
Yep.
have
For
sure.
visceral.
Yeah, it's the
Integrate
next level of
to
that, yeah, for sure.
Is this one of those things? I know the Coalition is known as being like perhaps like the best Unreal Engine, like the best chops in UE
Perhaps.
out there. I'm trying to get
What, did this
something.
game
I don't
like
want to
turn
feel
four off?
bad.
Just
Okay, the best with Unreal Engine is.
I don't know.
Are these things that
I mean, every
are
Gears game
now
has, right? Every Gears
possible
game.
because of
I don't know.
your mastery of Unreal Engine 5, or is it just like the art choice that you've chosen to do?
I think some of this stuff is just an evolution of what we've done before. Like, you know, for example, the blood and dirt. I don't think there's anything inherently in the engine that's allowed us to do that now. So there's a whole bunch of stuff where we've done this a few times now, and now we're like one-upping it. But there's definitely tons of stuff we've done in this game that is tied to the tech that's available in Unreal.
Yeah, I think the evolution of like, you know, there's some stuff that for sure is just creative direction, deciding to do E-Day. I think the biggest thing we benefited from is the city. We made Colona so we could experience this global event in our lore at a very intimate scale and see the story of one place. And as a result, we basically built a whole city. like the identity of the city, the detail, the people, right down to this micro destruction and everything that's going on there. So we get that. But we literally built Colona. Like you can pull the camera up in the engine and look, and the city is there. And so every time you're in a level, you're looking somewhere else. Like it's the actual location of that other place, which I don't know that we could have done that before. And I think that's probably, you know, there's a long list of technology that's come with UE5 or we built here that has kind of allowed this whole package. But that's the thing that's benefited the most.
And not just build a city, but build a city to destroy it.
Yeah, and rip it apart. Build a city and rip it apart. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a static set, right? You're going to
You're gonna see it
experience this
fall.
world. You're going to see it fall. You're going to see the spectacle moments. You're going to.
So what they're talking about is like destruction, right? Like I wonder how much that is going to impact multiplayer, or if that's even in multiplayer. Like when we're playing PvP modes, right? Like 4v4, like they mentioned, how much of the map is going to be able to be destructible, right? How much can you destroy? Like in Gears 2, you could hit like the corner off of certain pillars and stuff. How much does this really matter in terms of PvP is my question. Obviously in campaign they're focusing on it, right? But I'm interested in multiplayer as well.
Traverse back into areas that were intact, and there'll be smoking ruins, and you'll see kind of that loss, and that really helps kind of like deepen the story and deepen the sadness and the gravity of what happened and what Emergence Day was.
Yeah, I think that was an important thing for us, was to make the city feel like another character in our game, so that when you see it get destroyed,
I love that
actually
you can
feel
shoot
something.
through
Yeah,
things
it's
like
not
that
just
though.
a
That's
set,
actually
it's
pretty
actually
cool.
a living,
I know it's like
breathing,
basic, but that's
character in
cool
our
for
game
Gears.
that now is getting taken away despite your best efforts.
Yeah.
And in previous Gears games, everything's already destroyed.
Exactly.
It's just
Yeah.
constant rubble, and it almost is, you become
You
numb
never
to it,
you
I
never
feel.
get to see it destroyed.
You're walking
It's
through the history of a place that fell a decade ago,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
There's more to pick apart in this scene, so let's play it back one more time.
Yeah.
Let me see what I can do.
I'm at the pan safe. I need backup. These things are all over me.
More tremors.
Any gears out there? Anyone that can...
This is a cool moment actually because you see the police department there. It's part of this idea of the first night. They're just looking for help wherever they can. But this moment where the corpse rips through the ground, I think is a really awesome example of how we treat e-holes. We have, the systemic ones that you close with frag grenades, but we also have these spectacle ones that just open up and sort of dump enemies out into space and collapse parts of buildings and cover you with smoke, which is just such a cool way to flood the city with this chaos.
Yeah, the other thing that's new for us with e-holes is sort of this color red, the red light that pours out of every e-hole. We sort of made this commitment early in pre-pro that red would be, the e-hole color. We try to avoid using red anywhere else as much as we could, and we'd keep it as primary and strong as we can, which is kind of a bit of a challenge because it's not an easy color to work with. But basically, whenever you see red like this in the game, it's either an e-hole or it's danger. And I think after a while, that just subconsciously taps into the players, and when they see it, they're just going to know there's danger ahead. Of course, red is already associated with, something bad or, stop. You can't. He taps into the players, and when
I
they
want to
see
see that
it, they're just
shotgun
gonna
again.
know there's danger
Okay,
ahead. Of
right
course,
there, I believe he cover swapped. That was a cover
already
swap, right?
associated with, something bad. After a while, that just subconsciously taps into the players, and when they
Yeah, this is a cover swap. This is like a diagonal cover swap.
see it, they're just gonna
He's instantly in cover and ready to shoot.
know there's danger ahead. Of course, red is already associated with, something bad or, stop, you can't go, or danger. So it just kind of worked together. And it floods the space with red light, which is really cool. You get a real big change, and you can't really do that kind of stuff if you don't have, the power in the engine to let you do it.
One of the cool things in that moment where they pour out too, and you see across this demo, we're seeing the beginning of this invasion that we unroll through E-Day, right? And so the very first enemies we see here are wretches, but they're not armored the way you normally see wretches in Gears games. And that's because we're seeing sort of that first wave of shock troops come through the city, these almost like attack dogs, the way the Locusts use them. So one of the cool opportunities we had created.
Holy fuck, bro. Look at him. Look at this. Nah, that guy is actually insane. That guy's scary as shit.
Was we get to go back to the Locusts, but reintroduce them to Gears fans. Like, what would it be like to see a wretch without armor come out and be used as this sort of massive monster invasion force? But we're introducing these enemies to the characters in the game, so they're reacting. And anybody who's coming to a Gears game for the first time is getting to experience the Locust the way Marcus and Dom experienced it, right? Like seeing a wretch for the first time, seeing a drone for the first time, seeing them pick up a gun for the first time. Like that stuff's all in the first night of E-Day, which is really cool.
Yeah, they
Never mind.
kind of go from are these animals to are these monsters to
They're using guns.
they
They're smart.
say die groundwalkers,
Yeah.
they shoot you.
They fucking talk, Marcus. There's a line
There's an
Dom has in
army
there.
here,
Yeah.
so it's really cool to do that progression.
Yeah, one cool little
No, I'm brain dead because I thought I thought I remember somebody saying, because that right there was from the trailer, right? I thought I for some reason remembered that being about Marcus, his first ever face-to-face moment with a Locust. I don't know why. I thought I remembered that.
tidbit about those wretches is they look like a skinnier,
I'm brain dead.
malnourished version
I
of
don't
a
have a
real
brain.
wretch. And the thinking was we wanted the beginning to feel a little bit like a zombie movie. There's just armies of them coming. And so what we thought is, what if they took all these wretches, put them in cages, didn't feed them, turned them into hungry, rabid attack dogs, and then released them all into the streets. So that's sort of why they
wretches
look like
are
that.
cool.
And then as you go forward, you start to see the bulked up wretches. Then they have armor, so you get the full range.
I never was scared of wretches before.
That's what I was just thinking, Loomis. That's why I was
Well,
like,
they'll rip your head off.
Yeah.
that didn't make sense.
Oh, they do?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
If you DB and a wretch jumps on you, it'll rip your head off.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
Yeah.
They got claws.
And teeth.
And teeth, lots of
I
them.
think there's a line in here. You hear someone yell, "They're fucking eating people,"
They're
which
eating
they also
people.
do.
Yes.
There's one up close and personal right here.
Yeah, so we, as I mentioned, this demo kind of jumps through a level, but we're sort of tracking this storyline where they meet the other gear that's out in this part of town for the first time. So what's cool when we get to the grocery store here is obviously we find Mako, who's one of our new characters, and he's got a Vulcan, like a classic Gears weapon, but he's all alone out here. He's been holding this place.
He runs out of ammo.
Runs out of ammo, which is a thing that happens with him several times. Yeah, and we get to see sort of this moment, the first moment in the story of Bravo finding the other Gears in the city, reconnecting and sort of becoming a squad that's part of a larger force.
Yeah, it's really cool. Little by little, you start seeing there's other soldiers out there. There's a little bit of a, command coming together to try to fight back as much as they can. And that's really fun to see that evolution throughout the campaign.
This is a really big arena here. I feel like they're coming in from
we have much bigger arenas than this.
Oh, okay. Because this almost feels like a horde map to me, where they're coming in from all different directions, and you can't just hunker down in one place and survive.
I mean, E-holes are iconic for a reason, right? They're cool. They've got a cool idea.
That Locust just got stabbed in the neck twice.
Yeah, but functionally, they're just a great spawn closet. As a video game mechanic, it means your enemy can pop up anywhere. We can change the front lines. They've obviously got strategy in with them. You can see one of the squad mates chucks a grenade in and closes it in this one. So it's just awesome to bring it back. And getting to imagine the pay and save this grocery store was so cool because, obviously an awesome Gears map. Obviously we got to flex our destruction, our lighting, our reflection systems, and it's also pulled straight out of a Gears.
Okay, that's one thing I actually wanted to talk about. Look at this blind fire animation while he's walking along. In previous Gears games, in all of them, I think, your head is sticking up above the cover. If I'm not mistaken, in this moment right here, his head is actually still under the cover. So, I'm pretty sure this is different.
Our lighting, our reflection systems, and it's also pulled.
See what I mean? His head is literally still below the counter, but in other Gears games, your head is sticking up a little bit. You guys see what I'm saying, right? I'm pretty sure that's it is a completely different animation because they said the movement is from scratch, so that is part of the movement.
Out of a Gears book, out of lore. So this moment that we build up to in here about this grocery store and a bayonet snapping and the reveal of Ty is us sort of. We had to tweak a few things to make E-Day work, but wherever we needed to tweak the lore a little bit, we tried to really respect what's out there. And so even his dialogue is straight from the scene in the book where this actually happens.
Kind of call it a lift and shift a little bit. It was really important for us not to make any unnecessary retcons and, keep true to
you could,
what
but
was
your
out
head
there in
would be
extended
up
media.
a little bit more.
And we needed to introduce the Lancer into this game. We couldn't have a Gears game without the Chainsaw Lancer.
Yeah.
This moment actually takes place a year later in the books, but it's such a fantastic scene with a character we all love, Ty, and to be able to bring him into E-Day and bring him into this moment.
And
introducing him
in this way, the most quintessential Gears way ever.
Yeah.
I think it just all came together perfectly, and hopefully those, hardcore fans forgive us a little bit for taking that, but we really wanted to be able to show this on screen as well.
Also, I think people are going to be stoked to see a chainsaw because as soon as they see this, they're going to go, "Oh, hold on a second, something's happening." This is leading up to something.
And it is, it's the invention of the Chainsaw Lancer did come from a hardware store chainsaw, and it's so fantastic to kind of see that origin story play out so crisply and amazing.
Viscerally.
Yeah.
That's another great example of Ty getting covered in blood after that execution.
Yeah, and you get Marcus on his back foot, and there's a bunch of great things in that scene.
Yeah, so one thing that's kind of cool, that's a really small detail here, is just we're coming out
fat
of
as fuck, I'm not gonna lie.
Pendulum Wars into peace for the first time.
Yeah.
We don't get to spend a ton of time in Colona before that happens, but what you get to see all over Colona is the echoes of that. So in our signage, you're seeing, victory celebrations. You're seeing peacetime discounts in the grocery store.
Or
you're literally seeing, veteran centers, recruiting centers. So we weren't able. you know, we got to pick up a gun and shoot in this game. So we're not spending hours walking around the city in peacetime, but you get to see the echoes of what could have been, the hope and everything that's lost.
I love those TVs, by the way. I think we might have had one when I was little. Wood paneling,
big CRT.
It's part of that retro vibe. All the technology in Gears has always been sort of Vietnam era tech, we say, or retro tech. You know, there's no LCD panels, they're all CRTs, and you see the cash registers are all old school. So I think all that, there's vending machines, everything just has that sort of retro vibe, and that kind of really comes together to create a style that has a through line throughout the whole game.
So one of the things that we get to show in here too is an unarmed drone. So similar to, you know, the Wretches, we wanted to introduce drones even in a new way. And we have skipped ahead a little bit in here, but you see, like, actually in the game, before they ever see a drone pick up a gun, they just see a drone try to rip you apart with its bare hands. We wanted to really emphasize
this drone has like armor on his forearms. Like, he never had, like, I've never seen a drone with like spikes on his forearm, right? Never.
But you see, like, actually in the game, before they ever see a drone pick up a gun, they just see a drone try to rip you apart with its bare hands. We wanted to really emphasize that, yeah, they can use weapons, but they're just terrifying monsters that want to rip the limbs off of people.
And these unarmed drones,
like a hand-to-hand combat, that would actually be insane.
And then they come right at you. So they're not taking cover. They don't have guns. They're just charging right at you. Yeah, they're rushing at you.
So that was not like a canned moment. That's like an emergent thing. Like if the player was a little bit faster on the Nasher, like you could have dropped and tackled.
And somebody fumbled his reload on purpose.
I might have fumbled the reload maybe on purpose for demo reasons. I know how to reload, everybody.
That would never happen.
Everybody on the internet who is saying get good, it's a demo. There's things we have to do. But yeah, honestly, that moment is the moment that those are designed for. If you're not watching your flank, and your buddy's not watching your flank, it's a co-op game. You know, if one of those guys spawns, they'll take you straight to the ground. But every drone has this kind of in them. If you're DB&O'd, one will jump on top of you and try to rip you apart. We have some drones who, if they DB&O, they will or drop their weapon, they will go into that rage state and come for you. So it's sort of like an extension of DB&O as a mechanic, pulled in with the drones. You saw Dom come up and save Marcus there, so they can come pull you off. You can shoot the drone from afar. So
yeah, like what happens if Dom doesn't save him though? Like how do you get out of that? Is there like a button that pops up on the screen, or like how do you actually get out of that?
Everything we build is about trying to get that, obviously the vibes of Gears, Locust, Brutality, but also always thinking about how our mechanics can make the game play in co-op, right? It's all about the squad. I mean, it's all about never fight alone. Like that statement goes all the way down to what the smallest mechanic in the game about how a drone feels when it tackles you and takes you to the ground.
One thing to look at here with the close-up of Marcus, we always have close-ups in our game just to kind of flex where our character fidelity is. We would never have been able to do this kind of camera, you know, with where we were before. So obviously that has a lot to do with the engine. Technology's moved a lot, nanite. There's a bunch of things that have come together to allow us to get this close. We really revamped completely the way we capture our character performances, the way we model their likeness, all the poor detail, all that stuff, the groom. You're seeing groom in gameplay and cinematics for the first time. It's all based on little geometry cards, and that looks fine, but it can only take you a certain way. So there's a lot of firsts that you're seeing with the characters, and that shot of Marcus getting choked out is a good example.
This kind of reminded me, I got a little bit of a flashback of like General Rom, like lifting up men in the original.
We've got some good callbacks in this game. I think people are gonna find a lot of really cool, we all have our favorite moments from Gears, right?
I mean, General Rom is just the absolute goat.
A lot of them are echoed in here. Like, we're not trying to one-to-one them, but the E-Day is like for us was a journey on talking about the vibes and moments in past Gears games, and like I said, we're gonna build a new game from scratch. Nothing ported, like all from scratch. But how much of that, the way it plays, the nostalgia, the way it feels, the story beats, the characters, the vibes, the music, the look, everything. So I think people will find, like you said, there's a callback to that moment with Rom. They're all over the place in this game.
It's like a homecoming.
Yeah.
It's like getting back to the roots of what makes Gears so special. And you kind of find it across the entire game.
So obviously, you know, I've said a couple times I kind of rebuilt everything from scratch. There's just more fluidity, more mantling, all that stuff. But one of the biggest additions we made to the game is the idea, we added a jump button to Gears, which in the past has been really tough to figure out, but we worked hard on it and we found a way to just blend it into our movement, keep the heaviness. It's not a platforming game. We're not going to give you giant like levels where you have to jump, climb, but you can see even just in this little moment in the grocery store, it opens up flanking routes, right? You can now jump up, get on top of trucks. I get on top of the freezer here, pop over to another place, drop behind somebody, still risk reward, right? You can't see always where you're going. You might drop into a place, up, get on top of trucks. I get on top of the freezer here, pop over.
Okay, that right there.
Even just in this little moment.
When he climbs up on this first thing, right? He almost gets like sucked into the animation of jumping. It doesn't look natural where like he has to have momentum and time it. It looks like it's almost like a auto type of thing. I don't know, man. The way they're talking about it right now, though, it sounds like jumping is just part of the game. But right here, it looks like it's almost like you would press a button to like, you know, turn the wheel like in Gears 1 even. You know what I'm talking about. Just like a button command thing type of thing.
The grocery store.
Yeah, like
it opens
a
up
scripted
flanking
jump,
routes,
yeah.
right? You can now jump up, get on top of trucks.
See if you guys can see it though. I see it, but I'm also a loser. Like he gets to the edge, but like he wouldn't have made this jump if it didn't have an assist. Like I'm telling you, it literally is like sucking him into it.
I get on top of the freezer here, pop over to another
what I'm
place,
saying?
drop
He, like,
behind somebody.
boosts.
Still risk reward, right? You can't see always where you're going. You might drop into a place and get surrounded. Your buddy's got to get over there and pick you up. You know, I think in the dev direct you see little clips of some of the larger arenas, and they have, you know, a couple stories of verticality. They have multiple routes, and across the game we were just able to sort of expand and tweak how you see the battlefield.
What button is the jump button?
Well, what's your control setting? Yeah, I mean, every Gears game has added and subtracted mechanics because there is a limited number of buttons on the controller. There are trade-offs for sure. There are things that were in the original games that you won't find here because we did build it from scratch and we decided where we wanted to put buttons and certain mechanics. There are things for sure in the future we might look at bringing back as we layer in mechanics and stuff like that. But we wanted to really focus on what it would be like to take the pillars of Gears movement and combat and build a game around those pillars, but in 2026, right?
So, wow, okay. So what do you think they took away? What do you guys think they took away to add in jump? It's a little scary. That is a little scary.
Like, what would that look like?
Think about
like,
that.
what would that? Well, I was like, when did we start and when did we end? But what would it look like to build a game around those same pillars that the original Gears was built about, but do it today? Yeah.
This is the exact moment that the Lancer becomes the retro Lancer, I feel like.
Yeah,
It's
there you go. Exactly.
the moment of obsolescence.
Except, of course, you can still get them and still cut guys' heads off.
Yeah, and it's still really fun.
By the way, there's another tiny little thing tucked in here, which is Marcus has a couple of iconic scars in the other games.
The lip scar.
One of them he gets in prison, so you're not going to see in this game, but one of them he gets on his lip right there.
Yeah.
So.
Did you guys just hear how he said that? I'm also weird. I'm weird. Okay, did you guys just hear how he said, you're not going to see it in this game? That almost implies like there's going to be another game that you do see it in.
There's another tiny little thing tucked in here, which is Marcus has a couple of iconic scars in the other games.
The lip scar.
One of them he gets in prison, so you're not going to see in this game, but one of them he gets on his lip right there.
Yeah.
So all the Marcuses in the future, this was it. This is when he got it.
Drone's like, just I'm gonna give you a little nick.
There's one origin story left to tell. The origin of the do-rag. We'll leave that for. We'll leave that for.
Our roads converge again.
We should talk actually about who is playing Ty because
Oh, yeah.
we have a new actor playing Ty Caliso. Mati Rawange Heta Morris from New Zealand. He's the arm wrestling champion of New
Arm wrestling
Zealand.
champion of New Zealand.
Is that how he got the role?
He is Thai.
He is a living Thai. This is his first game. He is a wonderful, wonderful human, and he really embodies, Thai's spirit and is
And physicality.
and physicality, and just a fantastic all-around
And
person.
tattoos.
Yeah, and tattoos. So, just really excited to kind of like bring Thai, into 2026. He's such a small part of Gears 2.
But yet such a fan favorite.
Such a
we
fan
were like,
favorite. And we
it was an
loved
easy
it.
decision. It was like, who do we want to spend more time with? Like,
Yeah.
obviously, Ty.
Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, so we left a little treat at the end, obviously, just some smash cuts of things from across the campaign, which is, of course, just part of the game, but there's all sorts of stuff. And obviously, just some smash cuts of things from across the campaign, which is...
Okay, this looks like a frog, okay, which would be an amphibian. I'm pretty sure frogs are amphibians. Don't quote me on that. Haven't been to kindergarten in a while. That could be, though, like a water-based locust. It looks like a frog.
Of course, just part of...
Okay, that literally looks like a frog dinosaur. That literally looks like a frog.
Of the game, but there's all sorts of stuff tucked in these
There's so
shots.
much there.
There's so much there. There's like snippets of the,
New enemies.
even though it's all in one city, we get a huge range of environments, time of day. We go to the outskirts, you're seeing new enemies, like the bile frog in there.
I was wondering. I was
Yeah.
I feel like it was spitting emulsion.
He's spitting acid. So there's lots of emulsion in the game. He's spitting acid. The cool thing about Locust coming from the Hollows
Looks like a frog to
is
me.
they enslave essentially Hollows creatures. So there's this untapped, like, you want to imagine a creature exists in the Hollow. A frog that spits acid? Hell yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. He literally just said it. A frog that spits acid. See, I'm like that, stream. Don't ever disrespect me. Don't ever disrespect me.
Enslave essentially Hollows creatures. So there's this untapped, like, you want to imagine a creature exists in the Hollow. A frog that spits acid? Hell yeah. Like, and Gears is awesome at that stuff. We've had that rockworms and all sorts of things in the past. But just this idea that anything could come out from underground, and we got to play with that. It's a nice mix of reimagining enemies we had and new enemies.
There's definitely a few more that aren't in there. So
Oh
yeah.
There's
We got-
some
doesn't give
surprises.
everything
We didn't
away.
give
Sure.
everything
Just
away.
Just some brief teases.
There's a couple other little just.
Can we let's run back through that
Yeah,
again.
there's a couple awesome little moments in here. You're gonna see, I think you'll see glimpses of new weapons. We have a locust shotgun that fires raw emulsion and like literally melts the skin off of people. Now you see a boomer execution in there, so if you get him to low health, you can actually like take him down to the ground and cut his head off.
Has the boomer always been that big? He's
No.
real beefy.
I mean, he was in our minds.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now he is that big in real life.
I
He's
think
like,
that's part of taking what
I actually
we
like
and
that
fans
they're-
remember and love from
they're
the
bigger,
old
though.
Yeah.
games,
It's
and
pretty
then
cool.
adding a bit more to it. So I think the boomer's 8 or 9 feet tall.
9 feet.
he's like over 9 feet
He
tall.
can't go through doorways, so he has to bust his way in, and
he
he
Kool-Aid
just looks
Man's his
awesome in this
way.
way. That's why he's got to come down to a knee if you're going to take his head off.
Yeah,
So,
and all these guys we were able to, like, because we rebuilt it from scratch, we just, we didn't want you to just fight an enemy the way you had in the past. So you get too close to a boomer, he'll knock you and throw you back across the playing field. Of course, he's also going to yell boom and shoot. And actually, you'll see he's got this is the proto boom shot. He's this big, heavy boom shot. It's different from the ones we've had in other games. But we were able to add little gameplay mechanics that essentially took what was cool about that Locust unit and create a more enhanced version of it that impacts how you play the game.
Yeah, like you see the reavers. They're not just flying by you,
Yeah, they're not just turreting in the middle of the ground. They'll fly and stick to a wall and crawl
coming
along
down.
it.
Yeah.
They
They'll
drop
fly
off
and
guys.
drop off guys,
Yeah,
yeah.
they
Or
drop,
they drop off guys. Yeah. So I mean, again, it takes the imagining of Emergence Day and what you have in your imagination, and it brings it to life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ari and Nicole, Matt, thank you so much for that tour of Colona. While it still remains, it's just a little bit of that. I just want to talk a little bit before I let you go. Like, it's the 20th anniversary of Gears. I still remember in 2006, before I ever worked in the industry, playing with my buddy John Adams. We're playing E-Day together. I will find you. We will play this game together. But I'm just curious, like, what does that anniversary mean to you, and how has Gears remained so like resonant for people like after 2 decades?
Yeah, it's a big deal to us. Like, it means a lot to work on a franchise that's been around for so long. And I think it's exactly that. It's the memories you make with people. It's the experiences, whether you're playing the game in co-op and, you know, the game presenting you these really fun moments that stick in your mind, perhaps like the first time you saw the Berserker, or, you know, playing co-op together, playing Versus or playing Horde. Ultimately, a lot of it comes down to the memories you've made.
Get that game off my screen, please. I'm talking about Gears 5, not Tactics.
Of Gears that are just so enduring. The characters, their stories, Marcus and Dom, what they've gone through, the elements like the chainsaw lancer, the over-the-top thing. Yeah. So I think there's a lot in Gears that just, you know, creates this enduring longevity that will be around for a long time. And it's really just, I think, an honor for us to be able to kind of steward that into the future.
Yeah, I think for sure it is an honor, but I think there's also kind of a little more personal side. Like a lot of the people that you know have been doing this for a long time that work in this building remember when Gears 1 came out. I remember when I was young in my career, looking at the things they were doing at Epic, the art pipelines and the workflows. It was really industry leading. It blew our minds. And we had to kind of like buy the books and look through the making ofs and stuff like that because information wasn't quite as readily available. And so to be able to sort of work on a game and add to that legacy and add to that franchise personally is a real honor and kind of a full circle moment.
Yeah, and I think, you know, I don't necessarily think when we started with E-Day that we were like targeting like 20th anniversary, but we did feel in the studio, all of us being huge fans, a bunch of us having worked on Gears for quite a while now, and feeling that ownership and sort of like importance of continuing the legacy. It did feel when it ended up lining up, E-Day and this, it did feel like it made sense, right? That we had this vision of this game we wanted to make that was about, you know, making a game a story we wanted to tell about those franchise icons, about kind of the emotional core of Gears. And obviously, like every Gears game has taken some swings, and we wanted to take some too, and it just felt like an awesome time for us to line it up with that moment.
Well, thanks for.
There's been some swings and misses, though. Let's make sure that we are aware of that. There were a few swings and misses along the way.
Bringing us like, you know, new gameplay to look at. I'm very hyped up. The release date was announced October 6th is when we're going to be playing this. Yeah. But there's ways to get your hands on the sticks to try out that active reload before that. Can you tell us about what's going on this summer?
Yeah, for sure. We're going to have some betas this summer. Obviously, we want people to come and play, feel the game. Betas are a great way for us to test the game. That's what they're for, but it's a great introduction to the way the game plays, seeing bits of Colona, and just a way to jump in and get back into Gears with your friends.
Make some more memories.
Yeah. What's the best way to follow the Coalition and Gears between now and then to find out the latest when those things go live?
Gears of War on almost every platform.
Yeah, we're going to have more stuff to talk about between now and launch, so we're excited to show things, and this is just the beginning.
We cannot wait. So we will be tuned in. We will try to get you back, but you should go back and make the game and finish the game. We'll let you do that, and we will let you go as well. We have a ton more content coming out of the Summer Game Fest and from Xbox Game Showcase, so check that out wherever you're watching this podcast. Thanks, and we'll see you on the next one.
Okay. What are we thinking? I mean, they're always going to say all the right things, you know? They're always going to say all the right things, but they seem genuine. I'm excited, man. Like, I've been saying, I hope, you know, we get something new. This looks very new. This looks very, very new. So, we will all see here in a couple months in the beta. So, I'm excited. Also, like they just mentioned, I'm pretty sure within like the next 30 days, probably, we're going to hear some more stuff regarding multiplayer and, we're going to, find out about mechanics and things like that. The more that we see, as soon as we see the beta, we'll have a better grasp on like what this game truly is. But from a campaign perspective, it looks like a really, really good game. So I'm excited to even play that. I'm a big campaign person myself, so I'm excited. And yeah, we will see. We will see. We will see. Hopefully Gears is back, boys. Hopefully. Find out soon.